So, for example 2, half of the McDonald's sign is in a parabolic arch. Basically, the dimensions of the arch are 22 feet across in total and 20 feet high. Now, what's important for you to do is you need to make sure you highlight that and make sure that is something that you have acknowledged as something that you need to focus on. Now, we're going to sketch the graph of the arch with the left of the base of the arch located 4 units to the left of the axis. So when we talk about that, what we're actually talking about for this one is we literally have an arc that sits on the Cartesian plane. We have something that looks like this. And then what we have is we have our arc starting exactly 4 meters to the left. And when we do that, what you want to do is you want to kind of show that 4 meters is on your chart somewhere. So I'm actually saying from the center all the way out is 4 meters. Now, we also have to make note of the fact that at the beginning of the problem set, the person said that the total arc was 22 feet across, right? So if we've used 4 feet of the 22 feet, that means that we have something that looks like this going all the way across, and this is 22 feet. And this should also say feet here. Now, because we have 22 feet and 4 feet are used up, that means we have 18 feet left on the right side of the y-axis. So I'll just draw something there like that, and we'll put a point here. Now what's important is that when you have something that touches the y-axis, these 2 points here and here will be very important when we graph our parabola. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch a parabola. It's going to maximize and it's going to come back down. So that represents the M in our McDonald's arch. So now what we have to do is we have to basically say what these points are on the x-axis. So this is, say, the point -4, 0, and this is our other point known as 18, 0. Now from here we need to be able to identify this point here. We said earlier that the actual arc was 22 feet across and 20 feet high. So if I was looking at this parabola, that means that I'm actually going to have, I don't know what the x value is, but I do know that at least my height is 20. If we're talking about the height from the bottom of the arc all the way to the top, which is 20 feet. And now what we have to do is we have to find the y value that occurs here. Now we know that for every parabola we have an axis of symmetry. So if I actually draw my axis of symmetry here, we know that our axis of symmetry goes through our vertex. And to get our axis of symmetry, all we do is we take our 2 x-intercepts, which are -4 and x equals 18. Now in order to find the axis of symmetry, what we have to do is we have to add those 2 together and divide by 2. So I'm going to put my -4 in brackets plus 18 in brackets. And when we simplify this, when we simplify the top, we get 14. 14 divided by 2 gives us an axis of symmetry of x is equal to 7. What we'll do is we'll fill that into our graph. So our coordinate is 7, 20. So we've been using this equation in order to determine certain properties about parabolas. Now, we're using this basic equation, y is equal to AR, A bracket x minus r and x minus s. And we only use this when we have both x-intercepts. Now, it's obvious that since I have my vertex, I could have used the vertex form of the parabola and used any one of these 2 points to help me figure out what my new equation was. But today, we're going to use this specific equation right here. Okay? Now, when we use this equation, we know that we already identified what our x-intercepts were. They were x is equal to -4 and x is equal to 18. So, we have this as our equation. If we substitute what we know in there. We don't know what a is, but we do know that our r value is going to be +4. Since we have to do the opposite world for each intercept. So if x was equal to -4, we really need to say x plus 4 in the bracket. Next, for the second bracket, we're going to get x minus 18, and we're still applying the opposite rule based on what we talked about before. And so now that we have that, it's important that we use a point other than the x-intercepts. So just try to make sure when you're using the x-intercept form, the general x-intercept form for a parabola, you do not use the x-intercepts for your xy when you're solving for a. So after you've figured out your intercepts and plugged them in, you can't use the x and y that you had for your x-intercepts. But in this case, we have the point 720. So what we can do, we can plug in 720. And so we get the following. 20 equals a bracket 7 plus 4 bracket 7 minus 18. So we're going to end up with 20 a 11 times -11, which when we take our -11 and +11, multiply them together, we're going to get the following. -121a is 20. Solving for a, we get 20 over 121, and that's negative. So then we say for our final equation, solution for the equation is y is equal to -20 over 121 bracket x plus 4 bracket x minus 18.